Hello and welcome. Here's the top story at this hour. Election Commission has ordered probe against BJP candidate Parvesh Verma and take immediate appropriate action in accordance with the Model Code of Conduct. AAP had complained against Verma, the BJP candidate from New Delhi constituency, for allegedly violating the Model Code of Conduct. AAP had alleged additions and deletions in the electoral roll of the New Delhi Assembly constituency. CBI has booked the son of former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram and Congress MP Karti Chidambaram in a fresh corruption case. Officials say that the Congress MP Karti Chidambaram has a new case registered against him. The CBI has alleged that Diageo Scotland approached Karti Chidambaram to get the ban lifted, in return paid a bribe of $15,000 to Advantage Strategic Private Limited. The CBI has claimed that the bribe was given in the form of a bogus contract between Diageo Scotland and ASPL. A fresh case against Karti Chidambaram, the son of former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, and this pertains to a case that he's involved in taking a kickback of $15,000 from allegedly Diageo Scotland, paid to a company that is linked to him called Advantage Strategic Private Limited. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu flagged loopholes in the monitoring system at the Tirupati temple a day after stampede killed 6 people. He also inspected the spot where the stampede occurred last night. Judicial probe has been ordered. 2 officials who failed to ensure smooth operations have been suspended. CM Chandrababu Naidu has said survivors of the deadly stampede that left 6 dead and 40 injured will be taken care of.
Heads have started rolling following the stampede in Tirupati that killed 6 devotees who were waiting to collect the tokens to make it for the Darshan as part of the Vaikunta candidacy festival. The Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has announced suspension of a DSP and the TTD Goshala Director Harinath Reddy, besides the SP of Tirupati and the Chief Vigilance Officer of the Tirumala Tirupati Divas have also been transferred. Trouble started here, a public park owned by the TTD, where more than 3,000 people had gathered to collect the tokens to make it for the Vaikunta candidacy Darshan that begins from Friday. At one point, an elderly person, a woman actually, had developed a health condition and she collapsed here. When police tried to open the gate to help her leave the place for medical help, hundreds of people who were gathered here, they took advantage of the situation and they rushed outside to be able to join the other long queue waiting outside to collect the queue. The police had used this campus as a holding point to hold a few thousand people, and they led them outside in batches so that they can seamlessly go and collect the tokens from there. In fact, this is a barricaded area where there was a long queue. Now, many tough questions are being raised, particularly by family members of those who were killed. They say at that time the crowd was overwhelming, very heavy, but the police deployment was very, very less. And even those present among the police were not effectively regulating the crowd. Secondly, they say the ambulance came quite late. It took 20 minutes and they raised several questions, including crowd management, providing emergency route for ambulances in situations like this. And the big question, of course, would lessons be learned and situations like this be averted? While many cannot help comparing this to the recent stampede involving Allu Arjun, the big question, of course, is would there be political accountability as well? In Tirupati, with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
Now, a 5-judge bench headed by Justice B.R. Gavai has refused to consider the plan seeking review of same-sex marriage verdict of Supreme Court. The hearing for review petition was done in closed chambers. Dismissing the review petition, the top court said that they have not found any error apparent on the face of the record. They said that we further find that the view expressed in both the judgments is in accordance with law, and as such, no interferences are needed. Moving on to a story from United States, deadly wildfires have devastated parts of the city of Los Angeles and the wider county, destroying many homes and businesses as well as schools and places of worship. Officials said that they were dealing with 5 major fires which have destroyed almost 2,000 structures and forced 130,000 people to evacuate. 5 people have been reportedly killed. NDTV gets you this ground report.
I'm going to ask Ira Spitzer to come in with me and give me a sense of what he's been reporting and what he's been seeing. Hi, Ira. Thanks very much for being with us. You've been reporting over here now for the last 24 hours plus. Give us a sense of what the situation is on the ground. How bad is it?
Well, this has just devastated the city of Los Angeles. Everywhere you see, there are people who have been evacuated from their homes. Almost everyone that I've spoken with out here knows someone who's been seriously affected by this fire. Yesterday, when I was reporting and talking to people, somebody who his cousin had a house in Altadena, which is right in the middle of the Eaton fire. His cousin's house burned down. Those are the types of stories that have become all too common given the historic nature of this fire and given the fact that it's not just one fire. There have been at least 3 major fires that have broken out, and the damage is untold yet. We're still finding out the extent of the devastation to this historic city.
And that's just the key point. We don't know at this stage, beyond the fact that thousands of buildings and structures have actually gone down, what the extent of the damage actually is. Fortunately, at the moment, just 5 people have lost their lives. That's a relatively low number, but the damage unprecedented.
Oh, absolutely. When you look at the images of the Pacific Palisades neighborhood, for example, you see just block after block of burned out homes, shopping centers destroyed, major damage to a school. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, I think, what we're finding out right now. And what's really so shocking is when you see those neighborhoods is that there are fires that are just ongoing that have no personnel putting them out right now because those firefighting personnel have to focus on the areas that they can still do something about. So there's just these little fires burning all over the city. Sometimes you have the homeowners that are there just looking at the damage to their homes, many of which have been destroyed. So it's almost an apocalyptic type of viewpoint right now.
And Pacific Palisades is that fire behind us, right?
That is the Pacific Palisades fire there. That is the first fire that we heard about, and also is the largest fire in the area right now. So that is a wealthy enclave right next to the coast. Many of those people moved there, and this includes several well-known celebrities. I've heard that Paris Hilton, for example, had her house burned down there. Many of those people moved there to have some seclusion, to be near nature. It's an area that really comes very close to some wild areas, but that became a liability when that vegetation started burning, and it was hard to evacuate, and certainly hard for emergency personnel to respond in that type of area.
Schools shut down as well.
Schools across Los Angeles City are closed today. We've seen numerous school closures over the last few days. Some of that is because, of course, school children have been evacuated and just are focused on trying to get somewhere where they can be safe. The emergency responders also want to keep the streets more clear of traffic because, of course, there's still a tremendous amount of work to be done. I mean, the resources being devoted to fighting these fires are just astronomical. We've seen local resources, state resources, federal resources, and it's still not enough to even have any containment of these major fires.
Time for a quick break on the show. More on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Indian origin Canadian MP Chandrababu, traditionally a Justin Trudeau loyalist, has officially announced his candidacy for the position of Prime Minister of Canada in the upcoming federal elections. Arya's bid to run for the position of Canada Prime Minister came 2 days after Trudeau, who had been facing discontent within the Liberal Party over his leadership, resigned, making way for the selection of the next leader. Chandra said that Canada deserves leadership that isn't afraid to make the big and bold decisions.
I am running to be the next Prime Minister of Canada, to lead a small, more efficient government, to rebuild our nation and secure prosperity for future generations. I have always worked hard for what is best for Canadians. Bold political decisions are not optional, they are necessary. I am stepping forward to take on this responsibility and lead Canada as its next Prime Minister. Join me in this journey. Let's rebuild, revitalize and secure the future for all Canadians and for generations to come.
The chairman of Larsen & Toubro has come under fire for saying that employees must work 90 hours a week. During an employee interaction, S.N. Subramanian was asked by Larsen & Toubro, a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, was still making its employees work on Saturday. Subramanian replied that he regrets not being able to make his employees work on Sunday too. He said, "What do you do sitting at home? How long can you stare at your wife?" The chairman of Larsen & Toubro asked, he said, "Come on, get to office and start working." He is facing a lot of heat over the statements made.
Why is L&T still making employees work on Saturdays even after being one of the largest conglomerates and the face of India's business world?
I regret I'm not able to make you work on Sundays, to be honest. If I can make you work on Sundays, I'll be more happier, because I work on Sundays also. What do you do sitting at home? How long can you stare at your wives? How long can the wife stare at your husband? Come on, get to the office and start working.
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas convention today in Bhubaneswar. This significant event, celebrated once every 2 years, honoured the contributions of the Indian diaspora to their homeland. The PM called for documenting the history of the Indian diaspora, highlighting their journeys, their remarkable achievements and their contributions to the societies they have become a part of. The theme of the year was Diaspora's Contribution to a Viksit Bharat. Hundreds of non-resident Indians from across the world participated in this event. This also showcased the exhibition titled Vishwaroop Ram, that celebrates the universal legacy of the Ramayana.
A celebration of one of India's biggest strengths, the Indian diaspora, the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, kicked off today in Odisha's Bhubaneswar. With Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurating the event and hailing the Indian diaspora's role in Mission Viksit Bharat.
आने वाले कई दशकों तक भारत दुनिया का सबसे यंग और स्किल्ड पॉपुलेशन वाला देश बना रहेगा। ये भारत ही है जहां से दुनिया की एक बड़ी स्किल डिमांड पूरी होगी।
Organized by the Ministry of External Affairs and the Odisha government, the event is celebrated once every 2 years. Over 6,000 non-resident Indians, including business leaders, academics, economists and philosophers from 75 countries have gathered in Odisha to connect with their Indian culture and heritage.
Just because you leave India doesn't mean we lose our connections. We have our families, we have our culture. You know, I left India 50 years ago and I keep coming back. So, and this time as a special invitee. So it's the connections are amazing and they're from the soul, so you don't really lose them.
As part of the celebrations, PM Modi flagged off the inaugural journey of the Pravasi Bharatiya Express, a special tourist train for the Indian diaspora. The train, with a maximum capacity of 156 passengers, will take them to several tourist, historic and religious places over the next 3 weeks, starting from New Delhi.
from civilization to culture to history to now trade and commerce. The Indian diaspora is very keen and hungry to be part of the India story. People are coming from as far as Eastern Africa and Latin America. The message is loud and clear. India wants to embrace its almost 40 million diaspora, and it's now clear that they are responding and more than keen to be part of the India story. In Bhubaneswar for NDTV, this is Gauri Dwivedi.
So that's all we could pack into this bulletin. Thank you for watching.